International podcast on the One Piece chapter review 1018. I'm Muninn, and today we are talking about chapter 1018. We have Chasing Tama, we have ZP0 and Who's Who versus Jinbei, we have Who's Raj, and we have the legend of Sun God Nika, and we have a deadly fishman legend. Here with me today we have Pizza Kun,
Hello.
Manga After Dark,
What's up, y'all?
and Warple.
Hey, hey.
Also, join our Discord. We have a community with people from all over the world that are talking about their favorite anime, manga, webtoon, and manhwa. So, if you want to talk about your favorites or discover new series, please join us and enjoy your stay. So, bef- um, before we start with the actual chapter, let's talk about the cover page. In this cover page, we have another cover request. Page 1 reading a picture book while Ulti pesters him to play with him with dinosaurs plushies. On this thing, I have to say there is a note on this cover page where it says the request originally was for them to be child versions, but Oda drew them as adults. What are your thoughts?
I mean, I think it was a kind of unnecessary cover page. I really don't care about Ulti and page one, to be honest. So I don't have a lot to say about that cover part.
I like Ulti and page. Well, I mostly like page one. Ulti's all right. I like their designs. I mean, this is a cute cover page. I like their interactions. Um, I'm curious as to why Oda didn't draw them as kids instead. I mean, as the request was. But I mean, it's just a cute cover page. Nothing too big here. I'm wondering if the stuffed animals are alive because I mean, they all are looking at page one in Ulti.
Yeah, I like the cover page as well, and maybe Oda's saving their kid form for a flashback of some kind, and that's why he doesn't want to show it here. But also, I don't know, maybe I've missed it, but like the fact that the horns are real horns is also pretty interesting. At least page one's horns are definitely actually coming out of his head. So like I have no idea what type of race they are in the One Piece world, but they have actual horns. So I know a lot of beast pirates have like horns on their head, and some of them are fake, but these horns are actually real. So that was interesting.
Yeah, I'm kind of with pizza. I don't really care for like page 1, okay, but I don't really care for Ulti. um but I also think it was like it would have been more interesting as a cover page if it would be in their kids versions. um Maybe you're right, and Oda is saving something for a flashback, or there will be something later in the story. So, moving on to our first part. Now we have our first part, which is chasing Tama. We start out the chapter in the castle interior, where first of all they say how many people like switch sides. There are a total of 300 headliners with gifters and powers switch sides. So the Straw Hat Pirates, Heart Pirates, Samurai affiliation has gained 300 more fighters. And it's all because of Tama, and now the remaining Beast Pirates know that it's Tama's fault, and they are chasing her to kill her. Which is like, they are talking about killing a kid. That's gruesome, that's cruel. And we have then Nami and Usopp carrying Tama, and then Speed comes helping them with Scorpion, the Scorpion guy. I forgot his name.
Daifugu.
Daifugu, right? Daifugu. Thanks. And then there's Speed taking only Tama and Nami on her back, and Usopp is left alone. Which is
It's
like,
of course Usopp.
yes, it's Usopp. On the next page, we have a conversation between Nami and Zeus, where Zeus is asking Nami if he can be her servant again, and Nami first says no, and says, "No, you're my partner. You're not my servant," which I think is a very good outcome for Zeus. And then we have all of the people, like we see all of the beast pirates chasing after them and trying to kill them. So what are your thoughts on the first few pages?
I mean, I think I'm still a bit stuck up on the fact that like Nami has Zeus, even though it's not explained well, you know. And like we mentioned it before, to get a Muninn, like the only way Zeus to come out is with the help of Big Mom due to her ability, and now Zeus randomly pops up out of the saber, or how do you call that thing that
Staff.
Nami staff? So yeah, that was a kind of weird, in my opinion. And there is a total of 2,000 traders in like Luffy's side. So that's what the enemy is saying, that there's an additional 2,000 traders, which is like hella lot. And like, do we not remember like Luffy getting tortured in like the flashback? Now that you mentioned that, it's like cruel to go after trying to kill Tama, even though we have seen that episode or chapter where Luffy gets beat up because he didn't want to tell Ace's location. So it's kind of like expected, you know, from the bad guy, because they're dicks.
But still, they're going after a child.
Hey, they went after Luffy.
True. I mean, they're in it to win it, and Tama is the obstacle here. For a while, I had guessed that she was going to come up big when we got revealed for her double fruit, which I'm pretty excited for. I'm also super glad that she's, despite being scared, that she is here and she is doing this. I think it's really cool that Daifugo is the one who's pulling up to protect them, even though Daifugo and Speed, because they're like the first two gifters who were trying to like kill Tama in the first place. I think this whole section's nice. The conversation with Zeus, I'm curious if she specifically says partner. I'm always sketched when Nami winks like that. It's always got something to do with money. So I'm wondering when the official translation comes out if she does still call him a partner or not. And if she does, hell yeah, happy ending for Zeus. I'm super excited because I like Zeus. I'm glad he's still with us. That he's a part of the climate attack instead of just being like a separate cloud. It is super interesting that the numbers are like super close now. Like they're definitely within reach. It's like less than 2-1 odds.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, like normally I don't like space, like time fillers in like chapters like this, but I actually enjoyed the first part of the chapter. It's great seeing Daifugu again, Gazelle Man. Now I really enjoyed Hamlet, the giraffe gifter. Well, like when you see the giraffe's legs are wobbling because like the proportions are all off and the center of gravity is all skewed. So I really enjoyed seeing all of these characters return to help them. And like hopefully like we just get like a couple of panels of them chasing them. We don't need 3 pages to show Tama running from people. So hopefully going forward, we just shorten the amount of time we spend on the Usopp Nami Tama running from people part of the story. But it was entertaining, and generally enjoyed it.
So yes, definitely, and with what Walpole said, um, with even though Nami is a manipulative character, I think she's way better than Big Mom probably.
True,
I mean,
very true.
with Big Mom, it's follow orders or die. And with Nami, it's not. I mean, Nami will be like, will
I mean,
be.
imagine a Big Mom using charisma. I mean, she doesn't have any. She's solely on fear, and Nami can like use a bit of both, you know.
Mhm.
So that's kind of funny if you see like Big Mom trying to use her charisma, you know.
Yes, yes, definitely. So, moving on to our next pages, which is page 4 and 5 of the chapter, we make a uh, shortly back to CP0, and then still on the go board counting the numbers, and there we have the next exact number how many we have now. The number of the beast pirates has fallen from 30,000 to 20,000, and the number of first, and then now it's decreased more. Now it's 16,000 versus 9,000. So they decreased on 4,000 more, which is now it's 16 to 9 basically. Um and then they switched their conversation from the numbers to a character that we see later in the chapter and also is part of the title. It's Who's Who. And we learn a little bit about who's more about who's past. We already know um, that they just need to confirm the death of Who's Who, and then they have say if that they might not have to like go in there and kill Who's Who themselves because Who's Who is fighting Jinbei. So they are certain that Jinbei is going to be able to defeat Who's Who, which is interesting that they have this trust in Jinbei. What are your uh wait say, sorry, on the same page, like on page 5, we also go to the fight and see Jin a little bit of Jinbei and who's facing each other, and that's how page 5 ends. What are your thoughts on CP0 and their relationship to Who's Who and Jinbei and the fight?
I mean, it's quite surprising. First reading why they want to go after the escape convict, you know, because they CP0 says like if it's him anyway, confidential information he has should be dated by now anyway. His survival wouldn't harm the government, so there's definitely something behind the curtains between them and Who's Who. Allowing an escape to live would be a set of bad precedent, which is like what happened a while back, like with the whole backlash from Impel Down, like when what was his name again that lost his job because of it?
Magellan.
Magellan.
Yeah,
Magellan.
Magellan. Yeah, so there's definitely something behind, and um, that Who's Who has a grudge against Red Hair Shanks. I mean, of course, he would go after Luffy because he can't touch Shanks. I mean, he can try it, but it wouldn't go. It wouldn't go well. He would join the left arm gang, with Kid.
We will talk about the who's grudge in the next topic.
Okay, okay.
Yes. So
Uh,
right now we are focusing on like ZP0 and their relationship to who's who.
I did enjoy this bit as well, giving insight as far as what CP0 is doing on Wano. I guess it appears to be that they are here for who's who, trying to make sure that the information doesn't leak out. I think it's very telling. I think it is extremely telling that they're kind of like, he's fighting Jinbei. Like, we probably don't need to do anything. Because like he's comparing himself to Rob Lucci, and I'm just like, well, Rob Lucci lost to pre-time skip Luffy, and you're fighting Jinbei. I feel like the world government used to have him as a Shichibukai. Like, I think it's really, this to me was like a red flag when they said this, where it was like, ooh, who's out of his league right now.
Yeah, I also enjoyed this part as well. It's always great to get like behind the scenes look at the motivations behind characters. But I do wonder, what was their plan? Like, if this raid didn't happen, Kaido was not going to let them kill one of his flying six. So what the hell were they? What was their game plan? Like, the CP0 is not enough to take down Kaido and kill who's who. So like, I have no idea what their goal was. But if it was to just kill who's who or make sure he doesn't say any information, they're woefully understaffed. Like, this is nowhere near enough people to even negotiate. Like, if you give us who's who, we'll give you something. No. So like, I at least like how the world government is being proactive, because I hated how they just passively let people do things when they could have easily killed them. Like Robin. Robin lasted how long with them as a child? To send one vice admiral and kill Robin. They never did that. Dumb. Luffy should have died a long time ago. They didn't do that. Dumb. So at least here they're trying to close up loopholes and loose ends. So at least they're trying right now.
Yeah, and especially with what you said, with their understaffed for killing like Kaido and Huzu. I mean, they kind of, I mean, didn't they say, I don't remember it correctly, I think, but didn't they say how many, like that the admirals, even the admirals weren't enough to defeat a Yonko? Because
Yeah, I
the
think they
Yonko
would
are
need all
so
three.
powerful. Yeah. So if not one admiral, and they need like 3 admirals to defeat a Yonko, how is a ZP0 going to be enough? So I also like the insight on why ZP0 is there, because we didn't get an exact answer till now to that. And also, it's kind of good to have ZP0 also giving the numbers of the fight, because to keep track of everything, because we have this huge number of people fighting right now. And I think it almost it is kind of like Marineford. Like, so many characters fighting and so many different fights. It's like, it's hard to keep track of like how many people are left on each side. And
I,
so it gives us insight on how is the chance of winning.
I don't think we even had such a thing in Marineford. It was just an all-out clash. Like, this is like a better version, like giving us more information on what's going on. So that's a good end on Oda, like what he did.
I think maybe Oda like looks back at Marineford and thinks maybe it was too messy. It was too all over the place, because Marineford is a all over the place arc. And so literally till the end in Marineford, we didn't know, like, how are the chances on each side of winning? How many Marine soldiers are left? How many pirates are left? And maybe Oda learned from that and said, okay, in this big fight, I'm making it a little bit different, making it a little bit easier for the readers to follow along the fight.
Yeah, this
So
always. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
no, go ahead.
I was saying this arc always reminded me more of like Enos Lobby more than Marineford. Like always like the where you're getting little glimpses of fights here or there, then you just see the finishing move of every fight. And then you have your allied forces fighting the fodder marines and blah blah blah. So like this arc, I know like this was supposed to be the big war for the post time skip. But always like this felt more of Enos Lobby to me than Marineford, if anything.
Bro, if they do that, like what they did with Usopp, like the long range attacks, like from hella far away, and then him singing his own theme song, I think that moment was like sick as hell.
We're
I
gonna get
miss-
Sogo King again. He's gonna
I
show
miss
up.
Soga King. I absolutely do miss Soga King.
Bro, I want to see him sing his like theme song, man, bro. That was lit back in the day.
Well,
Mhm.
yes, it was lit back in the day, but we got Usopp.
True. We've got God
Hey,
Usopp and Soga King.
Wait, don't no, it's Go D Usopp, man. Go D Usopp.
And also
Right.
because Luffy's now smarter now, because like disguises used to fool him and now they don't. So we still need Luffy to come to a realization that Soga King is Usopp. He still does not know that they're the same person, but now since he's smarter in the post time skip, when he sees it, like, oh, you're Usopp, because his observation hockey is now like absurdly good. So so we still need to see that moment at least.
It would be hilarious if he found the mask on the ship and he's like, Soga King's on our ship? Why haven't I seen him?
That would be so hilarious. So, moving on, we are finally talking about the thing that Pizza already
I'm sorry about
got
that.
in. It's okay. We are talking about page 6 and 7 of the chapter where it is explained who's grudge. So, it's starting off with Jinbei asking who's who. Why are you holding the grudge against Luffy? Or that means you have a grudge against Luffy. And who says, yeah, my real issue with the one who stole the Gomu Gomu no Mi is Red Hair Shanks. And then he says, Luffy wears the same straw hat and he's the one who gained the power of the fruit. It's only natural for my resentment to spread to him.
I
And
still
then, wait, sorry.
That's fine.
Then we see a show, like we see who's who attacking Jinbei with his fang pistol, and we see the floor below where all the people are running because the fangs are cutting through the floor and attacking the people and on in the floor, like under who's who and Jinbei. And then we have Jinbei dodged all of the attacks. He dodged all of the fangs because who's who said that Jinbei's armament haki is not strong enough to hold, like to tank this attack, basically. And if he would have tried to block it, he would have been eaten.
I mean, you do see the panel when he shoots his fang pistol and Jinbei blocks it with his right hand. You can
Yes.
see in his like that he has a drop of blood or like a scratch on it. So that's why he started to dodge it. But I mean, I think he just underestimated the power of the Fang pistol, which why his armament hockey wasn't like on a high level, which you shouldn't do in a fight. Like underestimating your opponent.
Yeah, absolutely. Jinbei does sort of tank the first one, take some damage, and then yeah, he does have to dodge the rest of them. I do think I've been a bit of a negative Nancy about last chapter with the whole Gomu Gomu no thing, where I don't think it's necessarily like a special fruit or anything. I think the world government just collects them, which is why like Who's Who here isn't like going into detail about like why he was protecting this fruit or anything. It's more so just like, yeah, I had an assignment, I messed up, and I'm mad at Shanks for that. And I mean, yeah, he's right. Like Luffy's got the same straw hat that Shanks was wearing most likely at the time. Um, I still find it odd that Shanks was wearing the hat just from everything we've seen from him. And the fact that yeah, Luffy has the devil fruit, it's like yeah, naturally, why wouldn't Who's Who also be like upset at Luffy? But it's not. It doesn't appear to be like he has some kind of like personal vendetta against Luffy, where he's like frothing at the mouth. I've got to kill Straw Hat. I feel like that's more so reserved for Shanks based on what he's been saying.
So yeah, so I definitely so first I loved the action in this section. It was beautifully drawn out. Who's fighting style's amazing. I can't wait till we see Rob Lucci again because it's going to be dumb how great Rob Lucci is. And I agree that Jinbei definitely wasn't necessarily taking this fight seriously at first, and that's why he was bleeding. Like, oh, this guy's tougher than I give him credit for. And then Jinbei adjusted his hockey, and then it was over after that. But I definitely think Who's Who. It's more of like I can't do anything to Shanks because one, Shanks already clapped him once, and two, Shanks is now much stronger, and like he definitely could connect the dots between Shanks and Luffy. Like I think these statements is like I know that they know each other. This isn't an accident that Luffy is wearing the same straw hat Shanks wore and has the Gomu Gomu knee which Shanks took. So in Who's Who's mind, he might be thinking, oh, maybe Luffy was like a cabin boy or something. Like he was on the. At some point, they became allies, and this is how I'm going to tangentially get back at Red Hairs by beating his mentee. So, like, I definitely don't think the world government would tell the CP9 agents why the fruit is special if it is, or the meaning behind it. Like, here's the fruit, make sure no one touches it. But Shanks knew why this fruit was important, so I can't wait till we learn what Shanks knows. But it definitely makes sense why Who's Who wants to kill Luffy. It completely like his rage makes sense. It's misplaced, and he's nowhere near strong enough to exact his revenge. But his character motivations definitely make sense. And man, Jinbei's that over shoulder toss, that was nasty. He did the armor hockey to block the teeth. Yeah, Jinbei. Yeah, this entire fight was sexy. Oda did a great job drawing this.
Yes, we have also Who's Who is complimenting in the last two on page 7 in the last two panels. Who's Who is kind of complimenting and being racist to Jinbei with saying, "I didn't think a slimy fishman could move that fast on dry line," and that's making Jinbei mad. Like Jinbei is over the whole racism over fishmen, which is totally understandable because racism never has a place anywhere. And Jinbei just says he is generally no longer accepting to somebody accepting somebody who's expressing this type of discrimination towards fishmen. And also on Who's attack, it kind of reminded me of like a fishman.
Oh,
The
the
fangs,
Fang
yeah.
pistol. It does remind me of like literally exactly what Arlong was doing.
Yes, exactly. My first thought was, oh, it kind of reminds me of Arlong with his teeth.
I mean, this kind of reminds me of Ivankov, like this kid, like his wing shit,
That too.
True.
I mean, I can also like understand how Jinbei is like against racism because there has been like a lot of racism going on in like the Fishman arc, and then him being the one that actually saves Luffy with his blood, like kind of giving us a hint that the racism ends with that moment, that touching backstories, like during the uh, what was this guy called again that like talks through it?
Oh, Fishman Tiger.
No, 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 no. Not the like the guy that explains everything
Oh, the
during
narrator.
the narrator that
Oh,
goes
okay.
through the flashbacks. That was like a really touchy moment for me, to be honest.
Yes. So moving on to the next chapters, we have that who's who is reminded that he wanted to ask Jinbei on something. Um, and then we have some panels that have literally no text but awesome fighting, where who's who is attacking Jinbei and Jinbei is blocking it. But his armament haki is not slightly strong enough, and one of his fangs goes through Jinbei's arm, and Jinbei is like has who's second fang in his hand, and then he's throwing who's who over his shoulder, which was such an amazing fight scene. Then we have Jinbei attacking more on who's who, and we see that who's who is hurting, and then who's who is telling again that he wanted to ask Jinbei something about a story that he heard in prison while he was in Impel Down. Um, It was mockingly told to pray to a certain someone for salvation in Impel Down. Apparently, slaves in ancient times believed in a legendary warrior that would eventually come and save them. This warrior was called Sun God Nika. It was said that he would bring laughter to their lips and free them from their suffering. Who knows if he really existed? And then is Jinbei and Who's Who are fighting again, and like Who's Who says that his sentence was dragging forever because he was so long in Nipple Down for his like he it felt like it was forever, and he clung to this legend as like his hope to get salvation for his stay in and pull down. And he also says he didn't care about the details, and he just wanted to be saved from Impel Down. Jinbei then asks what this has to do with him, and then Who's Who says it's the Sun Pirates, referring to the Sun God legend, and that it is a legend that was also told from slaves. And Fishman Island and the Fishman race has a like deep history with slavery and them being slaves. And we see Who's Who attacking Jinbei again, and Jinbei blocking all of it.
I mean, that's a well-deserved W for Jinbei. I mean, that guy, we haven't seen him in a while. What have you actually like seen him fight, except in Marineford for a little bit, like helping Luffy out? But I mean, this is just an insanely good fight. Like, I mean, what was Jinbei like his right hand man of Fisher Tiger?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's why I said like you led the Sun Pirates, because he wasn't the captain but the vice captain.
He was when Fisher Tiger
Yes,
died.
he
But
was.
yeah,
He
then
Yeah.
was with Fisher
but
Tiger.
they split after that because like Arlo wasn't having it.
Mhm.
Well, the Sun Pirates still stayed. Just Arlong and some of the crew kind of split. Arlong and some of them defected, but the
Mm-hmm.
ones who stayed, like Aladdin, and I can't remember the others' names.
Yeah,
But yeah, those Sun Pirates, Jinbei was the captain for.
I mean, I really don't understand how Arlong even became an warlord of the sea, like in the beginning. It's such an
There was
L.
a flashback in Fishman Island that showed when Jinbei became a warlord, they released Arlong from prison. That was part of
Yeah.
the deal. So that's how Arlong got free reign to do whatever the hell he wanted in the East.
Mm, that's true. Yeah, but that was it, I guess. I mean, I don't have much to say.
Say, I enjoyed this part. I found it really interesting that well, the first time I read it, I did think that one of Hutsu's fangs had like pierced Jinbei's arm, but then when I went back and read it, I realized that like no, Jinbei has started blocking everything, and he just actually caught Hutsu's fangs, and he's about to like we get the shoulder throw, which we've seen him do underwater. Which I think like Fishman karate is like super cool because most of it is just how they manipulate water, but then when they get on land, it's just like judo. So like we've seen, I'm pretty sure the first time we've seen Ebb Tide shoulder throw was back in Whole Cake Island when Jinbei was trying to help free the Straw Hat ship, and we see him like tug water and throw it. But now we get to see it on land in combat, and it's just a shoulder throw, and who is he's reeling from it.
Bro, imagine how like hard it must be for him to like on the water like throw someone, and how easy it is if he uses the same strengths above water. Like when you swim on the water and try to move, it's kind of hard. I mean, like imagine his power when you were above water. That's like double the strength basically.
That was also explained in Along arc.
Yeah,
That's
like
what Along explained, and the guy that Sanji fought.
Or the one with the big lips.
Yeah, that spits. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah,
when he did his move in Marineford, he launched Luffy pretty far. Like the distance between where they were and where the admirals were, he sent Luffy flying when he did this move there. So like Jinbei could toss a large volumes of like heavy mass pretty far. So it's pretty impressive.
Absolutely. I've been super hyped to actually see Jinbei get like a full on fight because I mean, for all we saw in Marineford for most of it, it was Jinbei like knocking fodder away from Luffy. But I mean, yeah, this segment is cool. I think the sun god. Hold on, let me go back to it. Okay, did I go the wrong way? Yeah, Sun God Nika. Based on like the description of it, to me when I read it, it reminds me of Fishman Tiger rather than like Joy Boy, because even though even though the hold on, I'm trying to find it.
So we have a small
oh, here we
go. Technical difficulties right now. I'm sorry. So let's we are continuing. Does anybody want to add to the pages 8 to 12?
I enjoyed all the action, and I also enjoyed how Who's Who kind of made Jinbei become serious with the dialogue, because it's definitely like he's haphazardly talking about sensitive history, and that I like as a black man I fully understand how Jinbei is like, well, wait a minute, I'm kind of getting pissed off of how you're talking to me right now. And also in terms of the connection, I definitely think that the sun god is definitely referring to Joy Boy, and that Fisher Tiger probably knows some of the lore, and that's why he named them the Sun Pirates after the sun god. So I think there's because they reference the sun god in Skypiea. Mother Carmel referenced the sun god in Big Mama's flashback. So like The sun god is some ancient hero, and usually in One Piece, when they say ancient times, they're referring to like void century periods of time. So I definitely feel like there's a connection between Fisher Tiger's mission, him calling his crew the Sun Pirates, and then the existence of a sun god. So I definitely feel like all of this stuff is connected, and I definitely fully understand why Jinbei got pissed off when who's who was just flippantly talking about how the fishmen are slaves. And they even called them slimy beforehand. So I definitely understand the wrath. And then even like the silhouettes of the sun god, like when you look at the limbs look kind of cartoonish in how they're drawn. There's no like elbow bend, and it's a particular main character of the series who also has limbs that could look like that. So I don't
Yes,
know.
yes. Let's talk about this whole section. What who's who is saying also in this part, because he says apparently slaves in ancient sorry, I missed the page. Like in the next right, in the next pages we have all of the beast pirates firing up who's who to defeat Jinbei, and like telling him the flying six are unreal and they're like the strongest people ever and they can defeat them. um but then who's who is also talking about this legend again and his time in Impel Down, where he says that the person who told him about this legend was a guard. It was a guard of Impel Down, and a few days after they told who's who this legend, they disappeared without a trace. And then who's who figured maybe this legend was not meant to be spread, maybe people shouldn't know about this legend, and maybe they die for that or disappear for that. And he would like to know like why. He is asking Jinbei this question: why is like this legend, why did he disappear? Like he wants to know. And the fight is continuing um continuing on with between like who's who and Jinbei, like who's who making his attack, um and Jinbei countering with fishman karate, and says that he has nothing to explain to who's who. And then who's who says then he's going to like defeat him and attacks him again with his fang pistol. And Jinbei just says, "Oh, Fishman Karate Ultimate Technique." And he's taking down who is who with gargoyle tile fist. And before that, who's who is asking why Jinbei is so mad right now. And Jinbei answers to who's who: if you're going to make broad statements about other people's history, you'd better not be half-assed about it. So he has to take it seriously, the history of Fishman Island. And I think that was like a strong end for the chapter.
I mean that move was insane. I mean you can't just like talk about someone's history which is based on slavery so casually towards the guy and be half-assed about it. So you can see like the frustration in Jinbei's face, the moment he mentions it. I mean, like when he does his attack, you can see like ripples like of water basically like coming out of his of his direction of his face, you know. And if you're talking about ripples, you know, you gotta know the JoJo reference right there, you know. You know, I gotta put that one, but I mean, it just overall it was just a very beautiful chapter. You know, the final attack was like beautifully drawn as well. So I got nothing to say, man. It was just a very nice chapter.
um, I guess it was on the page afterwards. When he's talking about the guard, I'm curious as to when like who's who escaped because I thought it was when Luffy had raided.
No, no, it was
Impel
12
Down,
years
but
ago.
it sounds like who's who is another escapee, and Impel Down actually has a history of people escaping, and I guess they just don't let it out because I believe like the whole big thing is like once you go to Impel Down, you never make it out, and Shiki's the only person who's ever escaped. But you know, then we have like the entire Impel Down arc, and Luffy leads an entire raid in the prison, and so I was like, oh well, that's probably when who's who escaped. But based on what he's saying, it doesn't sound like that. It sounds like who's who kind of just up and left.
I mean,
It's kind of like bad on Impel Down, like the unescapable prison. Shiki escaped.
I'm.
Who escaped? Luffy escaped.
I mean, Luffy brought the whole gang to escape. You know, I mean, like
Yeah,
he said about something about 12 years ago. We know Impel Down is 2 years ago, like the big
Mhm.
escape with Luffy. I mean, there is a history that the world government always like keeps behind during incidents. You saw in Dressrosa that Fujitora apologized to the former king about what happened, and like Akainu got angry because that wasn't how it's supposed to go, because the government always has like propaganda, you know, like an actual North Korea, basically, if I can be so bold, like twisting the paper, you know, like getting something what they want on paper, but and what they don't want not in it, you know.
yeah. I could definitely see them like just hiding the fact that multiple people have escaped previously, and I guess the only like big ones that they couldn't hide were Shiki and Luffy with what happened to Marineford. So like maybe there are plenty of escapees, and they've either been hunted down or the world government's just kept it under wraps. Um, but overall, like as it's I mean, yeah, Jinbei's just like on the mark. It's like don't be half-assed. Like if you're gonna talk shit, get hit. Like
True.
But I kind of want to know now what the real legend is. What
I
is
am
the real
curious.
history
Yeah,
behind this?
I
I mean
think we're
it is. Sorry,
go ahead.
I think it is possibly related to Joy Boy. I mean, I like with the little image that's shown, it does look a bit rubbery, very cartoonish. But just like based on the fact that Sun Pirates were founded by Fishman Tiger, and that the individual Sun God Nika is supposed to be like freeing the slaves. To me, the story just like fit Fishman Tiger specifically super well, and to me kind of makes sense that like if it is a story you're not supposed to tell, maybe that's why, because it's related to Fishman Tiger, and they don't want people to know about the raid on Mary Joe and give slaves hope and anything like that. And so that's why that guard got taken away. And maybe, you know, who's rightfully worried about that. But I mean, we'll see. This is a new legend. I don't think we've heard of Sun God Nika before. The most we have is just is what this and the reference to the I'm assuming the reference to it via the Sun Pirates.
But yeah, this part was a jam pack of action and information. Yeah, the legend about I can't wait to get more information about the Sun God, because like I feel like this is gonna be like a connecting story that could connect Fishman Island to Skypiea, and like all these other weird lores we have that are like floating around. And even like Kaido knows of Joy Boy, and he says, "You're not." He told Luffy, "You're not him." So like, there's some. There's a story about Joy Boy coming back. We just haven't got the full story yet. But the big shots know. I mean, it makes sense that the world government would kill the guard if they knew information. Because even like with Doflamingo, Magellan was personally sitting by his cell because he said, "Oh, they're gonna send." Doflamingo said the government's going to send assassins to kill them, and Magellan said, "I'm not going to let that happen." So it makes perfect sense that if the world government has you in their midst, you're in prison, and we know that you know stuff that you shouldn't know, they will try to get rid of you. So that part makes perfect sense. I liked how Who's Who used the same move that Lucci did when he was clashing with Luffy spots, and how Jinbei broke both of his fingers. Like Jinbei absolutely broke this man down physically and mentally. Like even when Jinbei used the shark grip, he wasn't using armament hockey on his hands. Who's Who had armament hockey covering his hands. Jinbei squeezed it, and Who's Who started screaming. Like Jinbei was so much more stronger than Who's Who. I could not even believe how much stronger. Like people are debating how strong is Jinbei. He's Yonko Commander level at least. He casually beat Who's Who with like this wasn't even a fight. Like the Who's Who had no shot of winning this fight. So I feel like we now know where we could place Jinbei strength wise. He's a Yonko Commander. He's fitting of that title, whether or not he's second commander level or third commander level. He's somewhere in that midst. People are saying that, oh, Doflamingo would easily beat Jinbei. No, he won't. No, he won't. If Doflamingo wins, he's on the verge of death at the end of the fight. So, like, we now see how strong Jinbei is as a combatant. And, like, I really appreciate how he stepped on Who's Who's tail to keep him from moving away for the finishing blow. I felt like that was a nice touch. And then he took a Fang pistol to the face with no armament hockey. And like, what? And he just shrugged it off.
I mean,
Yes.
I mean,
what
yeah, go ahead, Muninn.
what I want to say on the legend is that I also think that but when I read this chapter, my first thought when Who's Who explained that Sangon Nika is the one who like freed the slaves and brought joy to everyone, I instantly thought like the connection to Joy Boy. Like if we think about like Luffy being a reincarnation or like being the next Joy Boy, and we think about what Luffy did in the story so far, what he did was he went to the countries and basically he stopped um some kind of suppression by like somebody above. If it was like, if we think about, it starts with Arlong, it is with goes to Drum Island, Alabasta, we go to Skypia. Like every island there was like someone above who was suppressing all of the people below, and he freed those people and brought joy to them. He's the one who makes them laugh, be able to laugh again. And he freed slaves, literally. And I think maybe that's like, if we think about like his possible connection to Joy Boy, it would make sense that the legend is Joy Boy because it was like what, 800 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I
So
mean,
in the like terms of 800 years, a person can become a legend.
during the time like in Skypia, in what's the place Boa Hanko came from?
Amazon Lily.
Amazon Lily. And now in Wano, there's different kinds of words for ornament hockey. Like you had mantra in Skypia, you have Rio in Wano, and I think Lily was something I don't remember what it was. I mean, they have different names for the same move, basically. So it can be like for Joy Boy, we know him as Joy Boy, but maybe in Fishman Island they know him as Nika. So and somewhere else they know him for some other word. So that there can be like an comparison to be made. You know, like it can be the same guy, but they people around the world use different names for the same guy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I fully agree with that.
you,
And even like how Oda emphasizes laughing, like all of the D's dice laughing. Roger laughed when he figured out the One Piece. It's like joy and laughter is a central theme about certain characters. So that definitely makes sense. That and there's a character named Joy Boy. So like there's definitely a connection between all of these different themes that Oda's been putting out.
And everywhere Luffy went, he also made them laugh. You know, like the banquet in Amazon Lily, the one in Taylor Bark, uh, in the Fishman Island. You know, the one they made. Everyone was laughing everywhere Luffy went. You know, so it can be like Luffy being the reincarnation of Joy Boy, or um, having the same will as him. You know.
See, I'm wondering if based on all the information we've gotten about Joy Boy, if and especially with Kaido's comment of like you couldn't be Joy Boy either, is rather than like a reincarnation, I think Joy Boy is it's like it's a prediction. So like we know what the maybe the world government's by some other name, but we know what the evil people are going to do. And they're going to create an individual who will do these things because they want to be free, and whoever succeeds in doing these things is Joy Boy. And so like Roger was Joy Boy, but he was too early to finish whatever needed to be done. And so like Ace could have been Joy Boy, but he died in Marineford. And so like Luffy continuing his journey so far, he's Joy Boy unless he fails, and then someone else could be Joy Boy, like
Is
yeah,
Momonosuke.
like
if you think about that, maybe like you maybe it's like every D could possibly be a candidate for being Joy Boy.
hey, that
Exactly.
rhymes.
Yeah.
Because Goldwater, D, Ace, a D, Luffy, a D. We have all those who have the clan of D, and also like as Pizza said, um, like it's laughing. Like all of the D's, they are laughing everywhere they
Except for
go.
Law.
They
I mean, he has water in his name, which we still. I mean,
But
he's
I still want to know what his second name is.
yeah, he has
His mother's name.
water and then D Law. I mean, we never heard of that one before.
There has
Yeah.
because he kept that hidden too. There
Yeah.
must be something that Oda is keeping from us, because
No,
like for his mother's name, because
ima-
it's his mother's name.
yeah, I mean, even Rosinante said like if you tell Joker your full name, he will kill you. But he is a descendant of the D, but we don't know why he has an water in his. He has a third name, you know.
Hmm.
But
Or is it,
also with Lost kind of past, would you be laughing all the time?
I mean, no,
no,
not
definitely
with
not.
his
And
past.
also, what I also think is like if you look at his crew, even though he is not laughing, he brings joy to the people around him because his
True.
crew is kind of joyful. Like his crew, like Penguin, Shachi, Beppo, like they are laughing.
I
They
like
are
Yeah,
laughing
Beppo.
for him too.
yeah, it's Law and basically his friends. Like Law knows his crew sucks, but he likes them, so like it is what it is.
Like
I mean, he
they
does.
are his family. Like Shachi, Penguin, and Beppo, they are like brothers.
Mhm.
I think they are like his family. They know each other since they were 13. Like since Law was 13.
It's very Doflamingo-esque, actually.
But
Doflamingo did not
wholesome.
pick the strongest crew. It's just the people that he liked.
I mean,
Yeah.
but unwholesome version of Joker, you know?
Yeah.
And he's not an underground broker.
Goddamn Joker.
I mean, I don't know if I say he wouldn't. He wouldn't be. He did sell 100 Marine hearts in exchange for Shichibukai status. So, or no, sorry, 100 pirate hearts.
Well,
Yeah.
at least the people were not dead.
True. He can't
He
remove
didn't
them
kill
without
them,
killing you.
He just took their hearts and they were still beating.
Imagine someone coming up to you saying, "Yo, I got 100 beating hearts for a position." How would you feel?
Sure. Like, you're a powerful pirate. You're in.
Yeah,
like,
like,
that's
you
all
got it.
Yeah, like, I don't need to see anything else.
I mean, he's kind a little bit. Well, a little bit is underestimating. He is a psycho, kind of.
You would think they would vet the warlords after Blackbeard much better. Even like like after what happened to Crocodile, what happened to Blackbeard, what happened to Doflamingo. I guess they didn't know the Doflamingo stuff yet, but with the previous warlords and then Moria losing, you would think they would vet them harder than what they do. Versus like, you're in. Buggy, what the hell? Congratulations, you're a warlord.
I mean,
Whoa,
Buggy.
whoa. God
No,
Emperor
Buggy
Buggy-sama
Buggy
earned
is
his
something else,
position.
bro. You can't do him like that.
Right?
He was in Roger's ship. You know, he was a ship boy. He's Shanks's best friend. You know, so he has some connections. Don't
Oh no, like
Yeah.
Buggy's gonna join Shanks's crew at some point because Shanks said
Buggy D Clown, bro. Don't forget.
Shanks told Roger, Buggy and I will get to Raftel together. That will happen. Buggy will join the Red Hair crew on some level, and they will get to Raftel together.
Other
That
way
will happen.
around. The Red Hairs are going to join God Emperor Buggy-sama. Get it right.
Shanks joins the Grand Delivery Service.
Exactly.
Okay, let's discuss this later. We still have to rate the chapter and tell our predictions. Before we rate the chapter, we are going to answer all of your questions in the chat after we made our predictions. So if you have questions that you haven't asked yet, please post them in the chat. We read them and we will answer them. So going on, rating this chapter from 1 to 10. What are
I'll
your ratings?
I'll give it an 8.5. I'm really like genuinely happy for Jinbei like actually getting a beautiful moment, you know, like smacking down who's who, putting him in his place. The only down point is like the Nami and Zeus thing. That's still upsetting me, you know, like it's like what Oda says with Big Mom and Zeus doesn't mean anything with Zeus and Nami, you know. So that's the only down point in my eyes.
I'd probably also give this an 8.5 out of 10. I didn't really have any issues with the chapter. I loved seeing Jinbei actually get a full on fight.
True.
I had been saying the whole time that like every time we saw like a glimpse of their fight, it always looked like Jinbei was like ignoring who's who while fighting, and it's like this guy is getting manhandled. So I enjoyed actually getting to see the full slaughter. I don't really want to call it a fight at this point.
True.
I also gave it an 8.5 when I reviewed the chapter last night, or I guess this morning. The only thing I could take points off is they wasted panel time with the Tama Usopp Nami running around part. There was only like a couple of pages. Everything else in this chapter was excellently. It was well done. It was excellent. So 8.5 out of 10 for me as well.
I also am on with the 8.5.
Hey, let's go.
Solidarity.
It's the same as pizza. I was kind of disappointed with the part of Nami with the whole thing because in the last chapters it was explained that like you see Zeus coming out of the staff, but he's still connected to the staff. And the explanation was he can only leave the staff fully with Big Mom's power, and her like getting sucking out his soul out of the staff. And now in this chapter, it was like he's completely out of the staff, and it was like, what the heck?
Hmm.
And it was a little bit confused, a little bit disappointed that it's like the explanation literally meant nothing at all, and
Yeah.
it kind of disappointed me over this small detail. So that's the 1.5 points that I have to like that is missing to the 10 for me. But as Wopo and Manga After Dark said, seeing Jinbei fight and having a full-fledged fight between enemies that are not Kaido or Luffy, it was kind of like a new it was like breathing a little bit from like all of the fights that are going on, and really focusing on one fight for once and not seeing like little glimpses of every fight. So for me, it's also 8.5. So we have a break week chapter. It is a break week chapter. We are not going to have a chapter next week. What do you think Oda will start off in the next chapter with?
I mean, I think the most obvious would be like Luffy, Nami, and Otama running away. That's like one of the first things we might see. Uh, um, I hope like a bit of Luffy recovering, you know, what we saw with Chopper. I mean, the crew of Law, and then Zoro recovering with Chopper. And then like more focused on Yamato versus Kaido. That's what I hope.
So I actually have the schedule for our next like 4 chapters. We have a break next week, 10-19, break 10-20, 10-21, break 10-22. So I'm hoping that next chapter to be another fight, so that way we have like a juicy chapter to tide us over for another break. Um, I'm not sure which one we'll get. It'll probably open up just like this one, a couple of pages showing like maybe what's going on with Tama, what's going on with Luffy, Momonosuke, maybe what's going on with Zoro as far as like the medicine that Chopper and the two Zoan doctors are giving him. But then I think we'll transition into another fight, possibly. I feel like a big one, considering we have breaks, would be like Sanji Queen. Um, I think that would be really cool. Although I have my doubts that that would get wrapped up in one chapter. So
Hmm.
maybe we'll go to because I think the last two Straw Hats we had seen before this chapter were Jinbei and Frankie. So maybe we'll go to Frankie versus Sasaki, which I have a theory about who Sasaki is.
So similar to so yeah, I think we're in the boss battle run through of the arc. So we're going to get through all the minor fights before we get to the main fights, how Oda classically does it. So we're either going to get Sasaki versus Frankie, or Black Maria versus Brooke and Robin is my prediction. Or I guess Apu versus Drake. We have to solve that as well. And Hawkins versus Killer.
Killer.
So we have all these minor fights that Oda has to run through first before we get to Sanji versus Queen, Zoro versus King, Yamato, Kaido, so on and so forth. So I think we're gonna get through these quick minor fights. Maybe we're gonna get Killer and Hawkins. That's gonna get a chapter, And then, but I don't know if that's juicy enough for a break chapter though. We might get disappointed if we see Color versus Hawkins, and then we get a break. So maybe Sasaki and Frankie will be exciting enough to the fan base, or Apu and Drake. One of those two be like, oh, I could. There's something to sink my teeth in. Seeing two supernovas fight each other like this, or Sasaki in his armored division versus Frankie's Shogun. So I thought my money would be on one of those two, Sasaki, Frankie, or Apu, Drake.
I also think that we have the minor fights that we are going to, like you like Manga After Dark said, that we're going to this through this boss fight run, um where we see all the minor fights. We in this chapter we had a the fight with Jinbei, um and we have I also think hope that we go back to maybe Black Maria, or I still want to see like a killer fight, and I want to see the Big Mom fight.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still waiting for the Big Mom fight.
I'm hyped for the Big Mom fight. I told my
Me
friend
too.
last night every
But I
time
think but I
kid
also
uses
think that this fight will not be wrapped up in one chapter. So
No.
that's not next week. Definitely not. I think we may go to Sanji again because they are fighting for some time now, or Frankie or Robin. That's I think the most like probably the fights that will end like first because they are fighting for some time now.
Mm-hmm.
I think as far as the break chapter goes, going to one of the bigger fights could be a decent idea. As far as, especially because I mean, I think we're all in agreement. I don't think they're going to end in a single chapter.
No.
So like, it would be a decent break chapter to get like Kid in Law versus Big Mom, and we get like a juicy bit of fight. Like it's just a full fight chapter, and we get like a cliffhanger where it's like Kid shows us this really like a new move, and he gets like a big hit on Big Mom or some shit, or like Ross shows us some another wild thing his double fruit can do, and that's like the final page of the chapter. That could definitely be like a solid cliffhanger, but um, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm sad we have so many breaks coming up, but we
Yeah.
Yes,
make it through.
yes, we have a lot of breaks. Well, we have like this break, and then we have next chapter is still break chapter because we have a Shonen Jump break after that.
Hmm.
Then we get another 2 chapters. Then we have a next Shonen Jump break, and I think after that we are going to be on the regular schedule again
Yeah,
with
which
the 3 chapters break.
yeah.
So moving on to our first question, we have Stella Stella Flegomana uh, asking, do you think Shanks kills someone to steal the devil fruit? Like the Gumu Gumu no Mi.
I think depending on the situation, like if they are threatening to kill him, he definitely would have. Like the one he did with like in episode 1, like the pistol isn't for show, like gonna if you're gonna like if you're gonna show it, you gotta pull it. And then all of a sudden like Lukiru was behind him, and then so definitely would have killed him if he needed to.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the red hair pirates don't play around. Um, they appear to be very comfortable with just killing people. I mean, we don't know who, but they took Kid's arm, so I don't think they're beyond killing someone if they're stealing stuff.
Oh yeah, Shanks collects bodies, no issue. Like if the CP9 agents gave him any issue, he killed them. Like whatever Shanks' mission is, he will accomplish it, no matter who's in his way. He probably won't do anything dirty or underhanded, but in a straight one-on-one fight, yeah, if you keep getting up, he's gonna kill you. He probably did.
I think even though Shanks is against the war, but he's not against killing in general. I think if the situation it depends on the situation. If he like steals something that is important to the world government, or if he if he needs to, he is comfortable at killing people. So tying in with that question, we had Edgeluvian, Edgeluvian. I don't know how to pronounce the first name. Sorry. Um, do you think Shanks is evil?
I would say he's more like Deadpool, you know? Like he's not evil, but he will do evil things to get his way. So like he's in the gray area. Like talking to the world government, ending the war, yeah, shit like that.
Yeah, I think Shanks has an agenda that he's following.
Yeah,
So yeah,
definitely.
like whatever he needs to do to get that plan done, whether it be working with the world government or killing people, um, I think he'll do it. I I'm curious to see if he does want to be king of the pirates as well. And so Luffy, part of why he made the promise to Luffy is like, well, next time you see me, hopefully we'll be rival pirates essentially. So I don't know if I would call him evil, more so just I guess anti-hero would fit a
Yeah.
little more.
That would fit the
Yeah.
Deadpool.
Yeah, like in the context of the One Piece world, the terms good and evil are very vague because like Akainu is a villain. Why? Because he follows the law. Like they're like it's just the world of One Piece in itself where pirates are the good guys and the Marines are the bad guys. And in the real world context, pirates are the bad guys and the Marines are usually viewed as the good guys. So I guess it depends on how you define evil. Like he is a pirate. Like he's not like a pastor or anything. A
I
job
mean,
of a pirate is to pillage, destroy, acquire territory. You have to fight people to do those things. So Shanks is not above military conflict. He has a goal that he's going to accomplish. He's going to try to accomplish it. Just like how the Marines want to eradicate the world of pirates. They don't care if Luffy's saving people. They don't care that he liberated Alabasta. They don't care that he saved people from Gecko Moria. They don't care about any of that. You're just a pirate and we're going to stop you because of that. So like is Smoker evil because he's chasing Luffy? No, he's doing his job. So like it just depends on how you define evil in the One Piece world. Because some pirates are good, some are evil. Some Marines are good and some are evil. It just depends on the individual character. And Shanks, I would not put the evil label on him. He's
yet.
a pirate. That's what he is.
I mean, then again,
Well,
like with Akainu, it's more like he's blinded by justice. Like Fujitora has justice, but he admits his mistakes. Akainu's like, fuck no, it's all pirates' fault, you know. So
But it's also
well,
Akainu,
you can say like I try to like Oda is he is writing his story also from real life, and if you think of real life, like there is no good or evil, like there is no black and white thinking. Like good or evil are terms that are connected through a zone of like gray scales, and there I don't even think that there is pure black or pure white. It's just all gray scale, and you cannot think of I think like the terms good or evil are terms that are very flexible,
yeah.
and
I
I also it's not only the One Piece world, it's also the real world. It's um it's how you see it is all depends on the perspective of a person. It depends on their background. It depends on their background story and how they that's why like how they came to be, because um like nobody is born evil. Like
mhm.
a
Yeah,
baby
because
is
it's
not evil, pure evil. It's like their surroundings, their upcoming, it's their background, it's how they grow up, how what they experience that's shifting their perspective, that in their thinking maybe something is evil or something is good or justifies their thinking. And I also think that Akainu is that way, because Akainu is blinded by justice, yes. But he is also, we don't know how he became this way. Because there has to be a reason that he is so blinded by justice.
I mean, you saw him drawn as a kid, like kid itself, a bit like the same vibe. All both were like very angry and miserable, basically.
Yeah, and it looks like he's holding like a dagger, and he looks
Yeah.
all like
Mm-hmm.
busted up. Looks like he was poor. Which is probably why. I mean, when we got the flashback with Robin, and we saw like Vice Admiral Akainu, where he's just like destroy the whole island. We can't let like it's his perspective is interesting because I believe his quote is essentially like, "We will have wasted all of these people's lives if even a single scholar gets away,"
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
which is
And
why we
yeah,
have to kill them all.
so yeah, like he's following orders and doing his job. So it's like, well, if you bring it into real world terms, like I'm in America. Some countries view America as heroes and liberators, like America saved us. Other countries, America's our oppressors. They're the reasons why we're in the current state that we're in. It's all about the perspective of the individuals and how they view the actions of the other. If you're an O'Haran scholar, Akinu's absolutely horrible. He's a deplorable human being. But if you believe what the world government is selling, then you're like, oh, he's a hero. He saved us from those evil scholars. So it's all about the perspective you have as an individual and what information you're using to come to your own conclusions.
Right.
Yes. So moving on to the next questions, we have Jay Lee Min Cho. Do you think Luffy's fruit is a prophecy like everybody says in the community, or do you think it's something different?
I mean, kind of yes, because there is like the shark lady in Fishman arc prophesies that Luffy would be the one to destroy Fishman Island. So there's already a prophecy going. And if Oda is like Araki and being the guy that is, that faith plays a huge role in it. So I think there would be some kind of uh, shit going on because there's also like a theory going on for a while that Luffy will be the one to destroy the red line and make the all blue. Like connecting all four seas together.
Um, Personally, I hope he's not, and that it's not. Um, I wasn't a huge fan of Naruto doing the whole prophecy thing because to me it kind of it what's the word I'm looking for? It
Aspels.
yeah, it was an asshole and it undermined the whole like hard work pays off kind of thing when you make it like, oh, but now he's some prophecy child, got like this nice blood lineage, blah blah
Mm,
blah. With One Piece, it's like I really enjoy the theme of freedom and freedom of like choice and all that. And so Luffy being like a prophecy child or having some kind of prophecy fruit, I wouldn't be the biggest fan of. I think that the reason my theory essentially is just that the world government collects devil fruit. We know there's a book that catalogs devil fruit, doesn't have all of them. I'm assuming that the Gumma Gumma no Mi is in that book, which is why Shanks's crew was able to literally just draw it, and they probably knew what they were going after. On paper, it sounds like a strong fruit. You become made of rubber. They're not in L. They know what rubber is, and its applications. You become impervious to like blunt damage, like no fall damage. You can't be crushed. Regular punches without hockey don't hurt you. Like it just on paper, it's like a strong fruit, and so like the world government probably is just collecting it, give it to one of their operatives that they find trustworthy, and maybe based on the location, maybe they knew Shanks was going to try and steal it. Um, so they sent a CP9 member to protect it, and because Huzu failed, that's why he's in jail. Nothing like super big or anything.
So I believe that the same reason why the fruit is special, the same reason why the straw hat in Mary Jaws is special. It belonged to an infamous historical figure, whether that person is Joy Boy or someone else. I don't think the fruit itself has any special abilities or special properties, but like I feel like there's some type of story that tells of a person's inherited will gets passed on. Someone will inherit this person's will, and the world government's like, we're going to make sure it doesn't happen by taking the items of the individual that whoever owned the fruit and had the straw hat. We're going to take those items, have them in our possession, so no one will ever be able to inherit their will because we have their hat, we have their fruit. And Shanks somehow found out about the prophecy and found out where the fruit was and took the fruit. And then Roger somehow started wearing a straw hat at some point in time of his life and gave that hat to Shanks. So it's hard to know what Roger knew and when he knew it, because when we saw the Roger flashback, Shanks already had the straw hat. So at what point did Roger stop wearing the hat? Was it before he read the poneglyphs? Was it after? So we have to figure out the timing of that. But it's definitely like it's not a coincidence that Roger wore a straw hat, gave it to Shanks, then Shanks gave the hat to Luffy after Luffy ate the fruit. They're all connected in some manner. We're just waiting for Oda to flesh it out. And I despised what happened to Naruto. And I in the last stream I also said like I hated it. I would hate it if One Piece went in that direction. But we're definitely going in that direction. Like when we've been reading the story, we often bring up about how fortunate Luffy is on his journey. That like all these trials and tribulations, he somehow gets through them mostly fine. Like he hasn't lost a crewmate. Like sure, we could blame him for Ace, we could blame him for Pedro, but like his main crew, they're all fine. They all made it out all these arcs. Luffy has not lost a limb. He's not missing an eye. He got a couple of scars. So that's about it. He went into Big Mom's territory. A-okay. He's currently in Kaido's territory. They're going to win. He survived multiple near-death experiences. Crocodile literally stabbed him in the heart. Somehow Luffy survived. So like Luffy's been very fortunate as a protagonist. And I would hate it if it's like is because you're a destined child and you're destined to be great because you're a member of the D clan, and then you got the Gomu Gomu no Mi and you have the straw hat, so therefore you're the child of prophecy, so it's going to work out for you because it has to. So like because you're already a main character, so we already know you're going to win. We know this. Like the readers, we're not dumb. It's just how we get there is what we get angry about. Make it earned. Like if like don't make it so like a story told us that someone who matches Luffy's profile will do all these things, because it just invalidates the entire journey. Just don't do it. Can we just please don't do this?
I do think the straw hat is important, but that's it.
I think the straw hat is important, but I don't think that it. I don't believe that Oda is going into the Naruto direction. I mean, we were talking about a prophecy from when did we first learn about Joy Boy?
I think Joy Boy's first mentioned in Skypiea.
Yes, I think in Skypiea, and then I think that was like the first time we thought, oh, Luffy is Joy Boy, which would be kind of a prophecy. I think there is a prophecy, but I don't think that it matches exactly on Luffy. Like Kaido saying, you're not Joy Boy either, hinting that there were other people that could have been Joy Boy. Then we have like also that like this what we talked about earlier, that maybe all of the like D-clan people are like have the possibility to become Joy Boy.
Yeah, it's kind of like how Harry Potter did their prophecy, which like, left it open to like multiple people could fit this. I'm okay with those.
Yes. So I think Oda would I hope so that Oda will maybe move or stay in this direction, because I don't see us going with One Piece going towards this like Naruto-like prophecy. I still think we have this open prophecy.
I mean, I definitely don't think he would go in an Kishimoto prophecy type, because like In Naruto, it was fine. You had the Sharingan, and then what was the other call again?
The
Rinnegan,
Rinnegan,
No. Before the Rinnegan, I mean
Byakugan.
Byakugan, and then all of a sudden, Naruto got stronger, so Kishimoto basically powered up the Sharingan, the Mangekyo Sharingan, the internal Mangekyo Sharingan, Rinnegan. I mean, Rinnegan was okay because we already saw it. But...
So my only sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Go ahead, bro. Go ahead.
So my only issue is that like there's a time component to the One Piece prophecy. When Roger got to Rafter, he said, "Oh crap, we can't do anything right now because it's too early." We know Shirahoshi needed to be born for whatever end game needs to happen. So my only issue is that it limits the amount of people that could be Joy Boy because you have to be born in a certain time frame, which matches conveniently Luffy's time frame of his life. So that's my only issue where it's like in Naruto, Hashirama could have been the one to bring peace. Like Hashirama had to fight Madara, and that was his fight as a reincarnation of Ashura, and Madara was the incarnation of Indra. If Hashirama had won, then we'd have had the world peace, blah, blah, blah. But Hashirama failed in his journey, so it was passed down to Naruto's generation to end the final conflict between these two blood brothers. So it could be so in One Piece, we know that Roger couldn't have been the person because he was too old, or he wasn't born in the right time. I guess he knew he was going to die, so he wouldn't be alive at that point in time. But for some reason, Roger's like, "Oh crap, I can't do it because I'm way too early. We have to wait until Shirahoshi gets born, and then at a certain time frame, these events will appear." So at least in Naruto, you could argue that it didn't have to be Naruto. It could have been Hashirama, but he failed. So maybe you could say if Naruto fails, then the prophecy will recycle to another generation. But everything lines up to Luffy's time in the One Piece world, which is way too convenient.
Hmm.
I pray Goda doesn't do it though. Fingers
Same.
crossed.
I mean, I also hope that if it's a prophecy, or we know that it's kind of a prophecy, that it stays like an open prophecy. So to the next questions, we have Lee Ren. Do you think we're going to have a Vegapunk arc? Because I feel like we need to have it to understand Luffy's devil fruit.
I'm not quite sure about that we need to learn about Luffy's devil fruit, but I think more about it in general. Like, how was Blackbeard able to obtain two devil fruits? How did devil fruits come to that place? How is it that if you die, your devil fruit spawns somewhere else in an instant? So I think there should be an arc or a few episodes or chapters that there's like a lot going on through or talked about the devil fruit itself, like about the book, about Vegapunk. Maybe he is the guy that has something to do with. Oh wait, it was 800 years back. Just how did the devil fruits come to that place? So I don't think it's generally only Luffy, but it's like all the fruits, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with you there. I don't know if we'll necessarily get a Vegapunk like centric arc. I do think we'll get an arc that involves Vegapunk, and we'll get some kind of exposition from him. And I do think he'll be the one that gives us a lot of our information on like the origin of devil fruits, how they work, et cetera, et cetera. So all that good jazz.
So yeah, a long time ago, Oda said Vegapunk was going to explain devil fruits to the audience. So like that was like 10 plus years ago. So like I don't think we have enough time for a full blown arc. But my personal dream is a Kuma rescue mission. I really think they should, like, with all he's done to help them. It infuriates me that the Strong's like, oh, that Kuma guy really did us a solid, right? Oh,
Bro.
well. Like someone needs to save him, and what's the perfect opportunity for us? Like it's a Kuma rescue mini arc. They meet Vegapunk on the journey to rescue Kuma, or at some point, Vegapunk explains to them this is how Devil Fruit works. This is how Spandam's sword ate a devil fruit. We still know how that happens. Funkfried was a sword that ate an elephant fruit. Huh?
Yeah.
There's also the dog cannon back in Alabasta.
So Vegapunk has to explain how all of this stuff works. How can he make objects eat fruits? How does he make the pacifistas? How do devil fruits work? Where do they come from? And then let's save Kuma and then wrap this all up with the Revolutionary Army. And then maybe give us like 15 chapters, something like that, and then call it a day.
I mean, if you like call this out in a way, like if this actually happens, I wouldn't be surprised. Like if you call this out right now, like if it happens like a few years later, that would make a lot of sense. Like him chilling in Morijua because no one can touch him.
Mm-hmm.
Them finally saving Kuma. Him explaining why he let Kuma defend the Sunny for 2 years. So I definitely agree with you.
Oda, please give us the Kuma arc.
I also think like the Kuma arc would kind of make sense, even though I'm not sure about it because he is all the way in Marijoa. But I also do not see a Vegapunk centric arc, but an arc where Vegapunk is like
the center,
important side character. Just say it like that.
I have a question. If a Vegapunk arc happens, does it have to have the Straw Hats in it? Or do you think the audience would be upset if it's like Sabo and the rest of the Revolutionary Armies going, or if it's like even like not Bellamy, one of the Alliance members somehow getting involved in this? Do you think people would be upset if the Straw Hats weren't in a Vegapunk arc?
Definitely not.
I wouldn't be upset. I also think that is more like the probability of this scenario would be higher than a Straw Hat going to Marijoa and saving Kuma.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe, especially since Kuma is one of the revolutionaries, right?
Yeah.
So it would make sense for Sabo to go in there and save Kuma or take him with him. And in the last time we saw Sabo, he actually was in Marijoa. So maybe we get another conclusion to because to this day we don't know exactly what happened to Zabo and we don't know what happened to Vivi. So maybe we get in the conclusion of this what happened in Marijoa on the Reverie. Maybe we see what happened and we get like a smaller arc like Reverie where we see the conclusion of it, and maybe in this arc we also see like Vegapunk and him explaining all the devil fruits or something like that.
I was so super satisfied that the fucking Celestial Dragon got punched again, not by Luffy but the other guy.
Yeah,
that was I want to see that. I want to see that again for the third time.
Yeah, I definitely think. See, I've been saying that like Kuma actually the reason I think based on what we got from the last time we touched on the Reverie. I think that the reason they're saying Sabo is dead is that Kuma whisked them away and that Vivi and Sabo are going to show up on Wano. And that's how we're going to like transition into our next arc, which could possibly be a part 2 of Kuma Rescue, or it could be us circling back to Alabasta, kind of like establishing Luffy as a Yonko with him actually getting territory and having to maintain it. It could be like a shorter arc, and that's how we could run into Vegapunk. But I wouldn't be upset if we got like a mini arc, like 5-10 chapters of someone else helping Kuma or somehow running into Vegapunk, and we get these kinds of answers.
Even if it's something like them killing Kuma finally, and that could like piss Luffy off to a point where it's like, all right, I owe Kuma a lot, and y'all killed him. It's time. I have to pull up on Mary Jordan and say what's up.
Right? But the roll up.
Like all the greats did it. Fisher Tiger pulled up on him. Luffy got pulled up on him too.
Mm-hmm.
And we still don't know where Vegapunk is right now. So we also don't know who he is working for right now. Because the last time, like, all of the information we got, he worked for the world government, but also he was kind of not all in for what the world government wanted. That we see that on the Punk Hazard flashback. So we don't know where he is right now. We don't know on which side he stands on. Maybe.
It's hard for me to think he's not a revolutionary art on some level, because like him letting Kuma do all of this makes no sense if he's not an ally of some kind. Like, even if it's like, I got kidnapped by the world government, can you help me? Like, I can see where it's like he wasn't originally a revolutionary army member, but Kuma joined the Shichibukai just to talk to Vegapunk. I feel like that was Kuma's mission, because why would Dragon send arguably his second strongest soldier to the Marines? Yeah, Kuma, yeah, go ahead, join the warlords. Kuma had a mission that he had to execute. I think the mission was get in contact with Vegapunk, let him know what we're trying to do. Like, hey, we could save you. Like, you're kidnapped by the world government. You're not free. We could give you freedom. Just help us do something, whatever that deal is. And I think that's what the Kuma's original mission was, as to why he became a warlord.
Yes. So, moving on to the next question. In chapter 1017, they mentioned about an organization called MAD. Do you think it has something to do with the Devil Fruit or other things as well, or the SSG?
Matt was the one that Kid, X-Drake, and Sabo was in it, right?
Queen.
No, that's Sword.
Oh.
You're talking about the scientist team.
Yeah, the
with
SSG.
Vegapunk, Judge Windsmoke, and Queen.
What a trio! Oh my lord!
Hey, I mean, that's.
Don't forget Caesar. Caesar was probably there too.
Oh yeah. It was Caesar. It was Caesar, Judge, Queen, and Vegapunk. It was those four scientists.
I mean, it would be quite weird with like.
Was it Caesar? Because I had to pull up. I have to be honest. I had to pull up the wiki, and in the wiki it only says Vegapunk, Judge, and Queen.
It should also include Caesar, because Caesar talked about the fact that he used to work, like the lab, Punk Hazard. That lab was a dual lab. That's where Vegapunk and Caesar worked at. It could be that maybe Caesar wasn't a part of MADS, but he was just a part of the research team when Vegapunk started working for the world government. That may be why, but we do know that Caesar worked with Vegapunk.
Yeah,
yes,
but
Vegapunk, but Yonji explains Judge's past involvement with before the Windsmoke children were born.
But we didn't get a time frame necessarily about when Mads was. I don't think they even mentioned names in that chapter, did they? Sanji just said you're a part of that group. So like,
yeah.
So like, I don't think officially we know who was in Mads, but we're all speculating that it's a scientist group. Vegapunk worked with Judge. Judge worked with Caesar. And Queen has pacifista technology, so he worked with Vegapunk on some level to learn this. So like we're like, when we get this flashback, it's going to be golden. But like, I'll be shocked if Caesar wasn't involved in this group until after they split. That'll actually be shocking.
I mean, didn't Vegapunk kick Caesar out of his like group because his style was too inhumane?
Yeah.
So I mean, that wouldn't make sense for. That would be like interesting for him to have like a trio like that, with Judge and Queen. Like they both are like almost clinically insane. So maybe
Yeah,
it was more about body modification than actually testing it on humans or whatever, you know?
yeah. I definitely feel like Caesar's going to be like an underling of some kind. Like, you know how Bleach flashbacks, all the current captains are like a vice captain or a third seat 200 years ago. It'll be something similar to that where you see Caesar, he's younger, and he's like an idiot, clumsy kid. Again, they make fun of him and stuff like that. And they're like, "Whoa, Caesar, you're kind of fucked up. Experiment on kids? Wait a minute now." Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so I feel like,
Gangsta Gastino doesn't give a fuck how old
yeah.
you are.
So like, I definitely feel like all of this stuff is going to be connected, the research wise, because we know Vegapunk has been working on cloning devil fruits and merging devil fruits with objects, as well as cloning people. So, like, as the special science group, some people think they're going to be souped up pacifistas, pacifistas with admiral devil fruit powers. Because, like, Kuma has Kizaru's laser. They still not explained is like, because when we first saw the laser, they said you put Kizaru's power into Kuma's body, or is it just an actual laser beam? Because like he can't do anything else Kizaru can do but shoot a laser beam. So like, are we going to get clarification whether or not the lasers that the pacifistas shoot, is it because Vegapunk copied the Pika Pika no Mi and somehow put that into a cyborg body, or is it just a run of the mill laser? I need clarification on that. Because if he copied Kizaru's devil fruit, bruh, like
I
that's
mean,
dumb. That's dangerous.
he was successful on Kaido's devil fruit, kind of.
Yeah.
I
I
find
mean,
it,
Kind
yeah,
of.
they call Momo's fruit a failure, and I'm not
It
sure why,
wasn't.
because like because he's small, but even then I'm like he's a child. Momonosuke's like 7, 8. Like of course he's a tiny dragon. I feel like eventually he'll get to Kaido's size. I don't know if I would call it a failure.
I think
I,
Vegapunk lied. I
I
think he
also
knew
think
it
that he
worked.
lied. Yes,
He's like, oh, I
I
can't.
also think he lied.
Yeah, I can't give this fruit to the world government. Oh no, I think he full on lied to them.
Yeah, and we don't even have proof that Vegapunk's loyal to them. I mean, Mads as Queen, I believe it was Queen who described it. Like they were just like a rogue science team doing their own research.
Mhm.
I personally think Vegapunk only works for the world government probably because they threatened him, and being with the WG just lets him do whatever kind of research he wants without having to worry about like getting hunted down.
I mean, for the SSG, I still think um that Vegapunk is kind of threatened to work for them. They
I
know
mean,
something.
that wouldn't surprise me. Like with Emu on top, uh, that person definitely have some schemes going on in the background. You know, with the five elders. And they also said that Kuma's body was perfect for the pacifista shit. You know, but wouldn't it be like logical for like um Kuma being able to like extort some pain from humans, you know, what he did with Luffy at the end of Thriller Bark, to also like insert it to him, but the pain being like a devil fruit, you know, like having an X amount of like his power to absorb it, you know, that would be broken, but still, I mean, he can like actually delete people from existence, teleport them to a place, and like get someone's pain out, you know. I mean, that already sounds like the broken combination, you know.
That is an interesting idea where like Kuma could undevil fruit people because his paw rejects it when he pushes you. And so maybe that's how the pacifista or Vegapunk was able to like mimic Kizaru's laser, where like Kuma does a minor swipe on Kizaru, so you get like a fraction of his power, and then it's like that's all you need to replicate firing off this just like one beam. I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah,
Hey, let's
that's pretty
go.
cool.
That
'Cause
would be broken. That would be
I
really
it's
broken.
so that I can only do JoJo references. Let's go. I can make a theory, theory, boys. You saw it here first at our podcast. Let's go. Everyone is a copycat.
So, does anybody have anything to add on this question?
if Kuma can like deflect lineage factors and like give it to people, that's absurd. That's the most that devil fruit's what the world government needs to try to recover.
Yeah.
I mean, they
Um,
have it already. Like Kuma is
Yeah, I mean,
basically
yeah.
an.
I mean, like get the fruit, like because they know how they should know how devil fruits transition. If Doflamingo knows, they
If
should
Black,
know that.
I mean,
They
if
should know
Blackbeard
how that
also
happens.
knows,
Yeah, so
I'm.
the world government's like, yo, just kill him and take the fruit. Like, just get a pile of fruits, put it by him, kill him, and then the Niku Niku no Mi will just appear in that basket.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, is that what Blackbeard did? Do you think when he put the curtain up in front of Whitebeard, he literally just had like a basket of fruits? And so it was like, please pick one of these. I doubt there's any fruit left on this island. I've got a basket right here. Just be one.
I think Oda didn't know at that time how he wanted to do the devil fruit transfer. I think that's why he did the black tarp, because like I think he like has no idea how I was gonna do this. So let me just do it and then explain it later on in the story. That's my assumption of how Oda did it. And then when Dressrosa happened, Doflamingo goes, oh yeah, if you kill someone near and there's a fruits nearby, this fruit this Punk Hazard, where we saw the smile thing explode and then it apple
I was
turned
trying to
into
remember.
Smile.
So yeah,
So, like,
what fruit was that on?
It was
Hazard?
like a pomegranate or something. The oxalotl, when it exploded, there was a basket of fruits that one of them turned into the new oxalotl fruit. It was something like that.
Yeah.
So like, I feel like Oda then came up with that afterwards. Like whether or not Blackbeard had like a sack of fruits nearby him, or it's a different ability that he used. It might be something completely different. It might be like a Yami Yami no Mi a deal. I've seen people theorize that he put it in his rings, which doesn't make any sense.
I mean, it would be like it doesn't matter if he has like a fruit basket. It's more like about the fruit. If there is a fruit in the close vicinity of someone dying, it would turn the fruit in a devil fruit. You know, like if he comes down there with a peach and no one sees it and he dies, then the peach will turn into the devil fruit. But then again, it wouldn't make sense for Blackbeard to have two devil fruits.
Yeah, that's another thing they have to explain.
I mean, there is a thing going on with Blackbeard having multiple personality disorder. Like that's why his Jolly Roger has 3 skulls. He has 3 guns. You know, like someone who's not
of the 3 different types of teeth he has, where he has had like full teeth, and he has
3 gone, and then one is 5 gone.
3 missing.
Yeah.
In different places in his mouth. So,
I mean, that would be like, I mean, imagine, like, if you are not able to sleep, like, you will go, like, people can go, like, 3 or 4 days without sleep. Imagine the rest of your life, the drawbacks or the shit you'll get eventually, you know?
Oh, yeah, like, I've even seen people theorize that he ate Whitebeard's heart. Like, there's no telling what Oda, because we know like you could eat a devil fruit user and you will take the ability, because Big Mom ate Mother Caramel and gained the fruit's ability. So we know that you could eat a devil fruit user and take their powers. So like there's tons of different ways Oda can go with this when he explains what Blackbeard did under the cover. But we so far know of 2 actual methods to get devil fruits: have fruits nearby someone and kill them, or eat them. Those are the 2 known methods of getting devil fruit powers from people. So, like, maybe there's a 3rd method that Blackbeard has that we don't know about. But either way, it'll be weird if we see a retcon of Blackbeard with a sack of fruits as he's underneath the tarp. I think that would be like a weird thing to show. But also be weird to say, like, oh yeah, I ate Whitebeard's heart. That's why I got his powers.
I mean,
you have to remember they mentioned he has a weird
it would be really messed up if he literally ate like a part of Whitebeard.
I mean, wouldn't we see a cut at his, like, close to his heart then? I mean, we know that he has, like, a cut in his gut, you know?
There's a giant hole in Whitebeard's chest. Akinu put a giant hole in Whitebeard's chest. Blackbeard easily went in and pulled it out.
I mean, yeah,
Hmm.
he has two holes in his chest. He's
Yeah.
got like a smaller one
Yeah,
here and then
small
a bigger
here.
one right below it.
I mean,
It's possible.
also I saw like in the comments from Silverback, like with his own devil fruit, like the Yami Yami no Mi, that he is able to absorb it with his devil fruit. That I mean, there is a reason why Blackbeard wanted that devil fruit in the first place. You know, I mean, it is he still tanks double the damage he takes while he's in the like he takes the black cloak on him.
But I
But
also, with the black hole, would he like absorb the fruit, or would he absorb it and destroy it with it? Because like his fruit is like a black hole.
When he fought Ace, he said the other things my powers could draw in is the powers of the devil. So, like, I don't know if he meant that figuratively or literally. That's the issue where it's like One Piece characters say a lot of things, and some of it's a figurative statement, some of it's a literal statement. So, Blackbeard could have been literally saying, if I hold on to you long enough, I will suck out your devil fruit powers. Or it's like, when I touch you, you can't use your powers anymore. So
That
it depends on what Blackbeard meant when he
um,
said that statement.
that could
Also,
be possible because I mean he is able to quite literally just attract. If you have a devil fruit, it's just like come to me.
what I want to add on the like three personality um theory is what Luffy and Zoro said on Java, because Nami said he, and they corrected Nami to them, which is like the pronouns. I think it's important, and how it was uh, said that it's them really plays into the theory of Blackbeard having like three personalities.
Or multiple hearts. I've seen people speculate that Blackbeard has multiple hearts, and it's like one heart per devil fruit, and that's how Blackbeard got through he got past the stipulation of not being able to have multiple fruits because he has multiple hearts, so each heart can have a fruit. So like Blackbeard needs an entire. There's a lot going on that we need to understand about his biology. Like what happened here?
I mean, wouldn't it be like kind of make sense because like if you are sleep deprived, you will eventually like your heart will stop, right? If you don't sleep.
You're like you'll go under like neurodegeneration, and like your brain will start dying, your cells will be destroyed, and eventually your heart will stop beating.
I mean, imagine like he switches from like heart that pumps when at night.
That would be wild. That will take an entire arc of explanation to explain this.
Imagine like someone modified his body. That's why he's like fucking fat and huge up the front, and like he has skinny legs. Like
All of One Piece characters,
true.
Yeah.
all skip leg day.
I mean, like the shit that I don't know if I can spoil it here. Like the one with Demon Slayer, you know, at the end, what
Yeah,
they.
don't spoil
Don't
it.
spoil
Yeah.
Oh
it,
yeah.
please.
I haven't read it.
Don't spoil it.
I mean, you guys know what I mean now, you know. With the
No, because
like
we
with.
don't
I'm not
know
that
the
far
end.
into Demon Slayer, so yeah.
You guys are not into.
No.
Vorpal, are you there?
No, I've only seen I've watched the anime and seen the movie. I haven't read it.
So no one read it. Oh my god! I mean, once you get there, I think you'll hate me after this. Oh, I'm sorry, man. I didn't know you all three didn't read it, man. My bad, my bad.
Hopefully, we won't remember when we get there.
I mean, if it goes like in this direction, like if you go only anime, it will take probably like 5 or 6 years. They will probably make a part 3 like after an event, after part 2, whatever.
I have to say, on do you see this in the chat? Um, Silverback, yes. We don't know what the devil fruits are about, so we cannot say necessarily that personalities or hearts have anything to do with devil fruit, and it's just fantasy. Is One Piece is fantasy, So it's all up to Oda's imagination how devil fruits work, and we are trying to figure out how Oda will write or maybe write how devil fruits work. So um it's all just what could be.
Yeah, we were
Maybe
asked a
hopefully not.
question and we're speculating because there's nothing in the manga that definitively answers any of these questions. Of course, we can't refer to manga panels to explain how Blackbeard has two devil fruits because Oda hasn't explained it.
Oh man, there was a hole in that curtain. I saw it all.
Yes. So Manga After Dark, you have a question for us.
Oh yes. So this is a two-part question. So do you think this fight between Jinbei and Husu is over? I think it is. And the second part of the question is if Jinbei has to help Law and Kid, is that insulting to Law and Kid? Because Jinbei has a plot point
Yes.
with Big Mom, he still has to finish. They have to have some type of conversation. So if Jinbei has to help Law and Kid fight Big Mom, how can Oda redeem Law and Kid as characters? Or even if Jinbei has to help like Zoro and Sanji, that's kind of a bad look. What is Jinbei going to do for the rest of the arc since he's kind of not that hurt?
I mean, I hope they don't like get who's who back up like what they did with Kanjuro, like 3 times. You know, it was pretty BS. But if he does, I think rather that he would join like Nami and Usopp, you know, because they need like a bodyguard type, you know. And I think it will hurt kids and Lost Pride if Jinbei joins them because technically he doesn't have anything again like with them, you know. I mean, then again, it would make no surprise for him to like take down Big Mom, but I don't see the connection there with like him teaming up with Law and Kid. So I would think he would go to Nami and Usopp for like protection or help Robin.
So I do think the fight between Jinbei and Husu is over. I think Husu just got clapped. Um, I don't think it would be an insult to Kid in Law, because I think Jinbei's a Banff, and he, I think Jinbei combined with Robin would be more than enough to actually like stop Big Mom from doing literally anything for the entire arc. Um, so like I think Jinbei helping them would be perfectly fine. They probably would be upset about it. Kid most definitely. I mean, he didn't even want Law stepping in. It's like, Kid, you can't 1v1 her. Stop. Just stop.
I mean,
But
he could have even 1v1 Luffy. I mean, Shanks.
I mean, yeah, exactly. It's like you can't 1v1 the Yonko. You definitely need help. Don't be salty. Um,
But
but I could see him going to help Nami Usopp or like go to the dance floor, maybe help Yamato on the roof. I mean, he is the closest to the roof. He's on the fourth floor.
I mean, for me, yes, who's over? He's done. I think he's done. I don't see, or I actually don't want Jinbei to go to the fight with Big Mom because for now, like in relation to Luffy and all the other Straw Hat pirates, even to like especially Zoro, like Kid and Law look bad, and I think as a supernova, Kid and Law should be like um more on like eye level with Luffy, or maybe between like between Luffy and Zoro. So, and I think that like kind of dynamic got a little bit lost in Wano. So I think Oda has to redeem Kid and Law as characters in fighting strength because right now they look very weak. They look very weak. And how should they call themselves rivals to Luffy if they're like that weak? I don't think that. that's the way to go, and that's the way it should go. And I also don't think that Jinbei is going to help Kid and Law on Big Mom, um, because Oda has to redeem Kid and Law at some point.
I've
I also
always
see him
oh, go
more
ahead.
joining um, either. Actually, I think him joining Usopp and Nami would be a good is a good prediction.
Yeah, I think I think in terms of like Kid and Law, as far as their depiction, I think I for starters, I think it's just a bit unfortunate as far as who we've seen them fight. Because like with Law, we saw him body Virgo, we saw him then get bodied by Doflamingo, but he was 2v1ing Doflamingo and Fujitora. And then like following, like he was fighting the both of them. He then gets shot a whole bunch by Doflamingo into having to fight Doflamingo and what's his face, Snot dude. Um, we he had to fight both of them. Uh, I'm like so close to his name, I can barely. Uh, it's like on the tip of my tongue. Um, but yeah, it's like we've seen Law, like we've always seen Law fight in like super unfortunate situations, and so it's like now in Wano, seeing him on the rooftop, he was super helpful. I do think Law is like strong, and then with Kid, we've really only seen him fight like Kaido, and it's just like losing to a Yonko sucks. But I've always thought of it like Luffy is a supernova who stands above the rest of them, and so they never have been equals. But Zoro being a part of the supernova, Zoro's level is equal to like Law, Kid, Killer, and the rest of them. Like that's where they stand, which is like slightly under Luffy. So I'm hoping they do get some clout against Big Mom, but I do think Luffy should like be head and shoulders above the rest of them.
Yes, you should be above of them, but like how Zoro fought on the rooftop, I think Luffy and Zoro like shadowed over Law and Kid. And
They did.
if you think back to Sabaody Archipelago, Kid was the one with the highest bounty,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
I think Law's bounty was also above Zoro
Yeah.
back then.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
was.
so they should be like in power levels. I sort them like in between Zoro and Luffy.
Yeah.
They are above Zoro but below Luffy.
Yeah. My yeah,
So
my sorry.
Yeah.
no, go ahead.
So I was just gonna say, like, it's irredeemable for either of those characters if Jinbei or someone else has to help him fight Big Mom. So at least Law has a purpose post in the story. Like he wants to figure out the history of the world. Kid's only purpose is to be a rival to Luffy, and he's failing in that in every aspect. He is nowhere near strong enough. His crew sucks, and he doesn't have the feats to even approach Luffy's level. Like even when it comes to Whole Cake Island, he got chased off by Cracker. Like Cracker. Like I'm sorry, but like Oda's done such a
Oh
horrible job
no, I
at
think
making
Kid got
Kid.
chased off by a snack, not even Cracker.
Oh yeah, Snap. Yeah, even
I mean, Orush
even
beat
worse.
Snack.
Yeah, it was
Aru-
it was a combination of the two. So Kid fought Snack prior and lost,
Mm-hmm.
and Rouge then finishes the fight, which is why Rouge beats Cracker and loses to
yeah,
Snack.
yeah. Kid's
Ah.
only purpose is to be a rival, and he's a horrible rival. Unless they're gonna say his
I
his
mean,
full name is Eustace D. Kid, and he's like
uh,
somehow part of the lore. Like Kid has
I
no
don't
purpose
think that
other.
Kid is a D.
Yeah, like his only purpose is to be a rival, and Oda has not done a good enough job of making me care about Kid. Like,
Yeah.
I mean,
He's the new
he didn't
crocodile.
even do anything. Like he was in Sabaody, with Luffy and Law. Like he had the higher bound to Luffy. Everyone went mad back at the time. But now the only thing we know is he tried to take down Kaido and failed because Apu like backstabbed him. And then He tried to take down Shanks, but then lost his left hand. So what else has he done compared to Luffy? Almost nothing, or at least what we know of.
But like, also you gotta remember, Kid has been a pirate for 2 years longer than Luffy has, because Luffy was training for 2 years. Kid was out here on these streets being a pirate. Luffy's bounty is 3 times as much. 3 times. Like, what is Kid going to do in this arc to even close that gap? He would have to beat Big Mom for his bounty to get any type of semblance of a jump to be close to what Luffy's going to be. And Luffy's going to jump even higher because he's going to be beating Kaido. So, like, there's just move Kid off to the side and, like, just forget about him. He's not a rival. He never can be. Like, I don't know what Oda wants to do with him. Like, because Kid was the only supernova Oda had plans for at the beginning. But then he figured out Law was so popular, so he put Law into the story. So where was this Kid stuff going to come in? Like, when we're going to learn about Kid? No, there's no flashback. There's nothing. Like, what are we going to do?
Kid's the new crocodile. He's about to be a fresh New World dropout.
Oh my god. I mean, like, you would think that Kid is strong, you know, like, he did everything Luffy did with one hand, technically. And at Sabaody, you would see him, like, taking people's weapon out of his hands, getting a big-ass machine arm, and then smacking the Marines. At this point, at this war, like, it feels like Oda nerfs Kid for no reason, you know? I think he has more, but I think he get nerfs, man.
This might be the best he got. I don't know.
I mean, we know that out of the 3 of them, Kid is by far the cruelest. He is the one who kills people, and he kills innocent people. So he's not afraid to kill casualties, and that is what made him so dangerous to the world government.
I mean, then again, I mean, everyone would be, like, going crazy if the world government wanted to kill the offspring of Roger, but Roger's wife get aged 12 months instead of 9 months, and
That woman is a legend.
yeah, and that's why they went after Kid, because he was born in the same period. So everyone would be like, it's like Law, but he's like, instead of, like, getting the depression-ish, he puts that towards anger, you know. So I can't blame him that he kills innocent, because I think the innocent people went after him as well.
Yeah, like it's like he needs a backstory. We need to learn more about him to care about him as a character. But he really needs to shout in this Big Mom fight. He just needs to go crazy and, like, show these epic, cool power. Like, I don't know what the hell he's gonna do, but I just think Oda dropped the ball with him. I think Oda is, like, because Oda even forgot to name his devil fruit in the series. Oda had to do it in the SBS. He had to do it in the SBS. He forgot to give Kid's devil fruit a name.
I mean, what is the name of his devil fruit?
It's the Jiki Jiki no Mi. I think the translation is clank clank fruit.
What?
Wow.
It's the sound like gears make when they hit each other.
Oh wow!
I still hope that Kid gets, like, in this part, that he gets a character development in Wano, and I still hope that we can get a backflash of Kid, because we got from the Law and Kid should be the main rivals of Luffy, right? So Law got his backstory. Now where's Kid? Because I kind of like Kid as a character if we would have gotten the backstory, because I think his character has so much potential that is not used till now. It is basically wasted potential of a character for now.
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
Killer gets more development than Kid. I feel like I know Killer better than I do Kid.
It's true, find it kind of sad.
I mean, the story behind him is pretty sad, man. Actually, like they made him eat it, and he got smacked down by Zoro pretty hard. Kid technically crying over him, like you hated to laugh. What happened to you, buddy?
But like that was awesome. Like we know that Kid and Killer have known each other almost their entire lives. Oda, expound upon that. Like they're childhood best friends. Now they're pirates on the same crew. Give us more of this. Give us like, yo, hey, like Killer, remember back in the day on whatever island we're in, and it's like we were attacked by those thugs. It was just you and I. Like, give us something. Like, expound on this brotherly relationship they have.
Yeah,
I
I'm hoping
also
we'll get
want
something.
to see like the backstory of their first love. That was mentioned in the SPS.
I predict that Killer is not going to beat Hawkins, and that is how we are going to get our flesh out for Killer and Kid's backstory and get some development. I think Killer, even though he's talking mad shit to Hawkins right now about fate and cards, I think he's about to hold that out.
And the sad thing is, I love Hawkins as a character. I love his design, but if he loses this fight,
yeah,
I mean,
feel
I've
like
kind of
the
no
character-
respect for him, man. I mean, his design is badass, but I mean, if he loses, I mean, he should like stop being a pirate at this point, man. He's just taking L's after L's after L's.
Yeah, I think Killer's going to lose to Hawkins, and then Kid is probably going to clean up Hawkins and help either take down Big Mom or like drive her out, and that'll be like the huge feats. I think it would be huge for Kid's character if Killer dies this arc.
Ooh.
But it would make his
That's spicy.
crew even weaker. It would
I
make his
think
crew even
he'll
weaker.
pick. I think he'll pick up like remnants of the Beast Pirates to like bolster his crew, like Ulti, Page One, not Sasaki, because Sasaki is probably going to become an allied pirate to the Straw Hats.
I mean,
but
sorry to interrupt you, but I just remembered there is a theory going around that someone in Shank's crew can like see the future. That's why he went to Luffy, because he ate it. That's why he gave the head to him to like motivate him. He stopped the war and said to everyone else, or said to himself, like, if Kobe didn't step in, it would have taken a different direction. So due to Kobe, he could stop the war. He stopped Kaido going after Whitebeard. Also, how would he know that? You know?
Yeah.
Lucky Roo also like came all of a sudden without anyone seeing, like next to the pirate that like pointed a gun to Shanks in the early episodes. You know? So people speculate that Lucky Roo can like see the future, like do some crazy shit, because the things Shanks do is way too how do you say it? Not advanced, but way too accurate to able to do it. You know?
Yeah, like it's hard. Like it's definitely like I don't know. Like it yeah.
I mean,
like, even go back.
Even if you have a devil fruit that can teleport you through time, like only forward. I mean, seeing forward in time wouldn't be like any difference, you know?
Yeah, like
well, I mean, we do have Arlong's sister, the shark fish.
yeah, Madam
yeah.
Shirley.
Yeah,
I mean,
she
but
can already see the future.
Yeah, but she can stay underwater. She can still swim.
Right. So yeah, it's like weird because like her power is clearly not devil fruit related because she can swim.
No.
So like one thing I hate about One Piece is hockey is so ambiguous that it could be anything and nothing. Like I always thought all of these abilities are hockey based, but they might not be. Like we know Katakuri can do future sight. What if Shirley has long range future sight because her observation hockey is that good, or she's just a fortune teller? Like Oda could go anywhere he wants with this, and then with Shanks, that's probably gonna be the most juiciest backstory in the series.
Bro.
because how did the girls say just let Shanks pull up like that? Like they would not let Big Mom pull up like this. If Big Mom wanted to talk, they would not say. They were like, yes, with distance between us. They would not let Kaido just pull up on. Look, why does Shanks have the carte blanche to just show up? And they're like, Shanks, let's have a conversation.
I talked with my roommates about that. I was like, I feel like any of the Yonko would be able to pull up and just have a conversation with the girls, say, but Kaido and Big Mom are fucking crazy, so probably not. Like those two specific, Blackbeard as well. Those three is where it's like you have the clout and the respect that I would have a meeting with you, but the three of you are not trustworthy. Shanks, Whitebeard, yeah, we could probably sit down and have a conversation with them.
I don't think they would talk to Whitebeard. I think they would be too worried. Like, oh, then Whitebeard this close? I don't know.
Bro, imagine like Whitebeard just knocking down the whole Marineford in an instant. He can't do anything, man. You bring a little, like, a bomb in your facility that can blow up for if you even accidentally disrespect him, you know. I mean, you're the Gorosei, so you want to talk shit, but he won't let you because he will like smack down the whole Marineford in front of your eyes.
Yeah.
Or was it in Marijua?
He pulled Marijua. Yeah.
I mean,
He
bro,
went to
that makes no sense. How is a Yonko able to pull up in Marijua?
Also,
that's the question that we all want to know. How does Shanks can just go to Marijua, get in there, and meet the elders?
And no one's observation hockey detected Shanks is the most dumbest part about the entire scene. We know you could sense the life force of animals. You could gauge their power level. You gauge other people's power level. No one, there's a Yonko level person on this island somewhere. No alarm went off on anyone. That's where it's like
because he had zero hostile intent, so he's able to fly under the radar.
I mean, that would kind of make sense because, with Whitebeard, I mean, with Whitebeard, he was in a hostile ship, so he was like dominating them, you know, and then like half of his crewmates like KO'd, like because his haki is too like overwhelming. I mean, you wouldn't do that with in Marijua because like the CP0 and everyone else would like pull up instantly because they had. I assume they have like ornament haki or
observation.
Observation, yes, thank you.
So I want to move on to our next question. It is, what do you guys think about Luffy communicating while being basically
unconscious?
Unconscious. Thank you. I'm sorry.
No problem.
I struggle with this word all the time.
It's fine. I mean, in a way, I think it's BS because like you're unconscious. I mean, then again, Rock Lee stood up while unconscious after taking like 2 massive blows, like one in the arm and one in the leg. So I just hope there's a better explanation to it than like how he explained Zeus being still alive.
So I don't want to take credit for this. This is my roommate's idea as far as how Luffy is communicating while being unconscious. It's not an active like he held a conversation with Momo or anything like that.
Don't say the voice of all things.
Well, so I don't. I know a lot of people say the voice of all things. I don't know if that's quite right. I think it's probably Luffy realizing that Conqueror's haki, because it can be applied the same way that armament can, and it has different properties when you do that. That maybe he tried it with trying to apply it the way observation does, and that allowed him to communicate something to Momo. But I don't think Luffy was like consciously telling Momo, I got this, don't panic. I think these are like Luffy's lingering thoughts as he's unconscious, and they're just leaking out. And because Momo has the voice of all things, he can hear it.
I mean, then
other people heard Luffy too.
It was so that was the weird part, because the people in the submarine were saying like, we heard something over here, but based on the way they described it, it wasn't as if they like heard Luffy's voice. They couldn't really tell what they were hearing.
Yeah, so I brought that up because Kobe could hear people's thoughts. So
What?
remember in
Yes.
Marineford when he awoke in hockey, he could hear what people are feeling. He heard them complain about fighting. He heard them complain about getting injured. He heard them in their minds. He was hearing other people's thoughts with his when he unlocked his observation hockey. So is it not crazy that you could project your own thoughts and emotions as well if you could hear others?
I mean,
So
that
it
would
could
be.
just
I mean,
so
that
it
would be
could just
kind of.
be an
Oh,
extension
sorry.
of observation hockey, or it could be like observation hockey plus conquerors hockey lets you emote your emotions. People could hear it or understand. Because even like when Kaido knocked out Luffy, what did Kaido say?
Yeah, that was.
You're
That was.
still looking, you're still glaring at me, and Luffy's just knocked out. But Kaido said, Luffy, you're still glaring at me. So like it could be like when you merge your conquerors with your observation, you could project emotion to people and they could understand it.
Right. And so Momo's picking up that like Luffy's not giving up just because he fell off the roof and is falling in the water. Like he still fully plans on getting back up and taking it back to Kaido. And like the people in the submarine are just hearing like something in the water, and so they headed towards it.
So what I already like before I listened to your thoughts about it with all the hockey types and observation hockey, I thought I I thought what everyone thought, kind of the voice of all things. But my approach to that would be like, I think the voice of all things is something like, it is the thing that is connecting everything. Like, in nature they say everything is connected and everything is a cycle. Like, um for ex- uh for example, um mushrooms in a forest, they are connected through their roots. It's like the brain of it is said in science that mushrooms are the brain of the forest, because they are all connected and they are all communicating with each other through the roots. So I think it's like that the voice of all things connects everybody. And even though Luffy cannot like actively communicate with the voice of all things or other people, the voice of all things, it's what's connecting everything. So
It's.
maybe Luffy's unconscious mind is pulling out those thoughts, um and like his it's not really his thoughts, it's his feelings.
I mean, it's like the
And
same shit with after the last Airbender, like with when they went in the swamp, like with the big S tree, was everything was connected. So I mean, that would kind of make sense. I'm sorry to
or
interrupt you.
Avatar, like the Avatar, the live action movie with Pandora, like
Oh yeah.
Pandora, everything is connected
Mm-hmm.
and they can connect to like everything.
Oh, I thought you meant the blue ones. I thought that you meant the Avatar, the last Airbender live action. I
No,
was like,
no,
no, no,
no,
no,
no.
no. That doesn't
Don't,
exist.
please don't mention the last Airbender live action. That was really bad. No,
Yeah, that movie was awful.
I was talking about
The blue
Avatar,
ones.
Pandora.
Yeah, the blue
Yeah.
ones.
Yeah, the blue
And
one.
that could also be it, where it's like, yeah, the voice of all things connects people, and so it's just
Yeah.
it's Luffy's thoughts leaking out, because like seemingly what makes Shirahoshi a ancient weapon is that she can control the voice of all things, which is why she's able to communicate with Neptunians and control the Sea Kings. Whereas like Luffy and Momo and Roger and I believe Odin could just hear them.
Momo can also talk to the voice of all things. He stopped.
Oh, that's right. He did talk to Zunisha.
Yes,
That's right.
yes, but that makes him a potential ancient weapon.
I have heard
I
that
agree.
mentioned. Yes.
So
Because that would make him what Pluton.
Pluton's the ship.
Pluton.
Pluton
There's
is the
there's
Uranus.
Pluton
one
is
that's
Poseidon, Pluton, and
Uranus.
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 okay. It would make him Uranus, because I know the ship. So there's Pluton the ship. the ship that Frankie had isn't one of the ancient weapons. It's like a counter to the ancient weapons because it didn't. I don't think it had a name, if I remember correctly.
So Frankie,
Oh,
he
it was.
memorized the blueprints to Pluton.
Yes.
So I always thought that the Thousand Sunny was Pluton. That I always thought that, cause like, yo, if you're gonna build a ship, why not just build Pluton? But it probably isn't Pluton. But the plot point should come up again where Frankie has to build it, or someone kidnaps him to make him build it. You don't just let that plot point die off. I feel like Oda needs to circle back to this.
Mm-hmm.
I think like even though Frankie burned the blueprints to Pluton, he has them memorized.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's like the shipbuilder in this story.
I
If
mean,
anybody knows how to memorize blueprints, it's him.
I think at this point that guy has like a photographic memory because half of his body is cyborg, or it's like Sokai, like he's a goof, but I mean he's a strategist. He's pretty smart in the form of like battle, like the art of war.
Mm-hmm.
So it would
Mhm.
kind of make sense that Frankie is actually smart, but acting like an idiot.
He is smart.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Definitely.
I mean he built a fucking like cannon or whatever that boosts you like with cola. I mean post times. I mean, so pre time skip he did it.
Yes, yes. So, does anybody have anything to say? Wants to add something to the stream today?
And that was it.
Yeah, it was an awesome chapter,
Yeah.
chock full of information.
Mhm.
So we'll see which of the Flying Six goes down next.
Yes, definitely. So I think that wraps it up for today. Special thanks for our two guests today. Again, it's Warple and Manga After Dark.
Mhm.
Thank you. It was amazing to have you on our podcast again. For everyone else, we have three podcasts running to right now, which is Black Clover on Mondays and Anime General Conversations on Wednesday, and Fridays is One Piece except of break weeks. The streams start at 3 p.m. CST or 2100 CET. Be sure to check in. Thank you for watching. If you want more of this content, follow our social medias, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and comment down below. One big thank you from all of the Otaku International podcast. Goodbye.
Bye
Take
bye.
care, everyone, and thank y'all for having me again.
No
Of
problem,
course,
bro.
same as always.